Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Tim McCarthy, host of 20 Tim Minutes, a podcast that focuses on mental health through humor, insight, and personal stories. Catch my 20-minute episodes every Tuesday, and on Thursdays, listen to me interview a wide variety of guests where we show our support as well as sharing our own personal struggles and stories with mental health. Let's break the stigma by cracking a smile. 20 Tim Minutes can be found on Digitent Podcast, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Have a good one.
What's up, weirdos?
Hey, yo.
Me? Shit. I got me a little something rolled. The lights are low, and we're about to chop it up with Abigail on the Manic, Pixie, Weirdo podcast.
Okay.
A safe space for weirdos of all shapes, sizes, colors, and creeds to relax and speak their piece. So grab your glass of wine and grass the chief as I get off the mic so the main weirdo can speak. Peace.
Peace, God.
What is up, weirdos? You're listening to the Manic, Pixie, Weirdo. I'm Abigail, your host, and this is the podcast where we talk about all the different kinds of relationships that you have in your life. But first, let's break for an ad. What is up, you guys? I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our sponsor for this episode, Newsly. It's an audio app for iOS and Android where they basically take articles from all over the world and all the trending topics that are on the web at any given moment, and it reads them to you in like a natural voice, like a human being would. It's basically the first time in the history of the internet where the entire web becomes listenable. It's really cool, you guys. They have all different kinds of articles from all different kinds of topics so that you can like stop scrolling and start listening, which I really love. You can follow all the, any topic, all the topics, whatever topic you want to talk about or listen about, from sports, science, Bitcoin, even the Kardashians, like everybody. They have all the latest articles and it reads them to you. So it's super easy. They also have podcasts, which is why I'm talking to you guys about it, because our podcast, along with podcasts from over 50 other countries, are on the app. So that's really, really cool. You can start listening there as well. You can download and use Newsly for free right now at www.newsly.me, or you can use this link in the description. And when you use the promo code P1X1EP0DCAST, that will give you a free month of premium subscription to Newsly. So go check it out, you guys. And thank you so much to Newsly for sponsoring this episode. And we're back. And this week we are talking about my relationship with culture. And like specifically white culture, because I'm white. In case you didn't know. Yeah, I'm white. And okay, so it led me down an interesting path, where there doesn't really seem to be there's a couple of camps. Okay, there's a couple of camps. So there's a camp of people that like doesn't believe that we have a culture, which is interesting. Basically, the argument is that like everything that we would consider to be unique about our culture isn't unique to us, and it was actually stolen from other cultures, and so therefore we can't really claim anything as a culture, white people. And now, okay, I understand that. I really do. I get it. Like, it makes sense to me. Like, obviously, it's kind of one of those where it's like, duh, yeah. But it's not very, like, satisfying to me as an answer. It's not very, it's just not really, like, very satisfying to me as an answer. It feels kind of like a cop-out. Like, we didn't want to work that hard. We just didn't like want to, really think about like an answer to this question. So we just kind of didn't want to work that hard. And it's just easier to say, well, we don't have a culture. So that's kind of like where I am with that argument. Like it makes me feel, it's just kind of like, okay, like I see where you're coming from. Yes. Yes to some of it. However, I do think we have a culture. And it did take me a long time to get to this place where I actually think we have a culture, because I kind of fell down that rabbit hole of like looking and being like, oh no, actually, like, yeah, That's true. We don't really actually have anything unique about us that could, like, be called our own. It just seems very surface level to me, though. Like, it just really seems very surface level to me. But I did go down that rabbit hole, and it's, I don't know. It just seemed very, like I said, unsatisfying and not sort of like productive, I guess would be the word. It's not really like very proactive. It's just kind of like a stick in the mud, I guess is the best way to describe it, where it's just like stuck, and it's just like, okay, so what do we do with that? Would it be possible for us to make a culture? Like, and if so, how would you do it? If not, then are we all just supposed to like accept it and kind of move on? None of those options seem like good ones to me. I guess that's just why I'm sort of tending on the no, I don't like this idea side, if that makes sense. I just, like I said, I did go down that rabbit hole, and I was kind of convinced for a certain period of time that that's true, that we don't really have a culture, until I started like looking at stuff, and I was like, but we do. And like, okay, so this brings me to sort of like what my ideal, because I started thinking, I was like, okay, well, we've got to have something. Like, I don't even care at this point if it's like good or bad. Like, we've got to have something. So we're really good at stealing shit. Okay. We're really good at like stealing shit. Awesome. Okay. It's something, you guys. It's something. It is something that one could say that white people are very, very good at, like as a collective. It's not great. It's not a good thing. I'm going to put that out there. It's not a good thing, but it is something that, we got to channel that energy in a different direction. At least that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, if we're going to have that energy, then like we need to channel it in a different direction. We need to make it a positive thing and not a negative thing. How would you make stealing positive? I don't know. Tax rich people, tax super, super rich people, like billionaires and stuff. Tax them. They'd consider that stealing. I'm sure it's fine. Just do it. That was my quick, easy, like off the top of my head solution. Pay no attention to those side quests. Sorry, guys. But then so I continued to think, and I was like, but we're also like we're like cold, angry, drunk people. And because most of us, if you're white, most of your ancestors are going to be from really cold places. It just has to do with like the melanin amount in your skin. Excuse me, English is hard. And all of that stuff. And so just like because our ancestors tended to be farther away from the equator, we didn't need as much melanin in our skin because sun and all that stuff. And so those places tended to be colder. So the like the lighter your skin is, that's just kind of what that means. So we're like most of our ancestors. My point in saying all that and explaining that, I don't know why I felt the need to do that, but I did. We're just from like cold places. Like, we're just really cold. We're a cold group of people. We live in an extreme, and it's cold. It's real cold where we're from, guys. And so what you do when you're cold? Well, a lot of people drink, and a lot of people are real angry when they're cold. Just not happy campers. So, yeah, we're a bunch of cold, angry, drunk people. Just a massive amount of us wandering around. We're angry, man. We're like an angry group of people. Like, we need to get that shit under wraps, because it's not good. It's not good. I don't know what we're so angry about, other than the fact that we're just like real cold all the time, and probably, or maybe we're just like real angry. Like, we're just bad drunks. Like, we're just like, maybe we should just not drink. Maybe we just can't handle it. I don't know. food for thought, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so that kind of led me to this article. Because I was like, so obviously I like came up with stuff. Like I came up with stuff that is dominant in like white culture, or what I would consider to be white culture. And so I was like, so there, right there, that means that we do have a culture. Like just the proof of even those like couple of simple things that I like said, it's proof that we have a culture. So I was like, okay, so there's got to be like other things, right? Well, I stumbled upon this Guardian article written in February of 2018. I'll put the link in the description, so if you want to look at it, you can. And it found something really interesting. So apparently, white people. There was a study that was. Let me back up here. So there was a study that was done, and in the United States, a country that it says is 61% white as of the writing of this article. But anyway, and there was a study that was done just in the United States, and it wanted to see like, things like what is white culture exactly. And so the title of it is, what is white culture exactly? Here's what the stats say. So apparently white people eat vegetables. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, and I quote, latest data shows that the average white American eats 16 pounds more vegetables at home each year than do non-white Americans. That could add up to 112 medium-sized carrots, 432 cherry tomatoes. That's a lot of stuff, you guys. While white Americans... the only thing that white people seem to love more than vegetables is dairy. White Americans eat 185 pounds of dairy products at home each year, compared to with just 106 pounds for black Americans. So we like milk and vegetables. What do white people drink? See, I fucking told you guys. It even says this in the Guardian article. Alcohol. That's the answer to that question. Which is wonderful because I was right. It means I was right about something, which is fun. So, and then it says, what is the typical white name? Not what you would think. Not what you would think. I would assume most of you went with like John Smith or something of that nature. No, it's actually Joseph Yoder. So it's Joseph, and then Yoder is Yoder. Yep. Some fun facts for you. Yeah. And then what do white people do for fun? We're bougie as fuck, you guys. We're bougie as fuck. We love the arts. All the arts. That's what it says. It says we enjoy the arts. Which is kind of funny because that just means we're super bougie. We just really like to do shit that, has like glitter and stuff around it. So that's where we were at with that. And I just thought it was really funny. I was like, really? I never would have guessed. Like, I never would have guessed what like the most common white name is. I never would have guessed that we eat more vegetables. That was weird. I know. I just never would have guessed. And it made me curious as to like, okay, well, what are those things? Like, what? I wonder why. Like, I wonder why we have all these like weird random things that are associated with white culture. And so I kind of started, thinking along the lines of like, okay, so no, we do have a culture. A, we do have a culture. And B, what else is white culture made up of? So I went digging and I found a pretty good little like graph / like chart of, it says it's called Some Aspects and Assumptions of White Culture in the United States. While different individuals might not practice or accept all of these traits, they are common characteristics of most U.S. white people most of the time. This is from the Khalil Jameson Consulting Group from 1990. And I didn't, I found a bunch of other places that like confirmed that like they had like similarities with this list, but this seemed to be like the most comprehensive list of things that I found. And so we're just gonna go through them because I think they're rather interesting. So it says rugged individualism, self-reliance, individual is the primary unit, independence and autonomy highly valued and rewarded, individuals assumed to be in control of their environment, you get what you deserve. Yes. That definitely applies to me, myself, and I. I don't necessarily like that about myself, but that does apply to me as an individual, because I do have a lot. I'm pretty individualistic when it comes to things like independence. Like I want to be independent. I see myself as someone who, sort of gets what they deserve. Those kinds of things. So I do see myself like I do talk to myself like that. Like I am very like rough and rugged like that individualistic. On that end, I am pretty selfish in that way. Well, I can be. I try real hard not to be, but I can be. So competition, be number one, win at all cost, winner-loser dichotomy, action orientation, master and control nature, must always do something about a situation. Yeah. Aggressiveness and extroversion. Maybe not that one. Maybe not so much the extroversion. Decision-making, majority rules, when whites have power. Again, yes. All those things, yes. I see that. I see what you're talking about. I see it in my own life to a certain extent. I'm pretty competitive. I'm a very competitive person. I want to be the best kind of a thing, like be number one. And I guess that's really more what it is like being number one was like highly rewarded kind of a thing. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean, I had to play with that for a long time, that, being the best doesn't necessarily mean you're number one. So I had to do some serious stuff, on that. The winner-loser dichotomy, I get that a lot. Yes, I get that. Makes a lot of sense. Like there has to, well, because everything is competition-driven. Just the justice system based on English common law to protect property and entitlements, intent counts. Yes, I do think intent counts. I do think that matters. What was your intention when doing whatever it was? Like, why did you do it, kind of a thing. Property and entitlements, property, not so much. Like, I don't know, property and entitlements, and it's based on English common law, so that's good, which is structured to cater to the wealthy, because that comes up over, we'll get there. Just calm down, Abigail. Communication. The King's English rules, written tradition, avoid conflict and intimacy. Yes. Don't show emotion, obviously. Don't discuss personal life. Again, yes. And be polite. I don't know if being polite is I take issue with that one because I just don't know if that's as common now. It doesn't seem to be, especially with like the news and everything. So I don't know about that one, but obviously to the other ones, yes. Don't discuss your personal life. Yeah, nobody. It's, again, it goes back to that individualism. Like, you are supposed to, like, if you have a problem, you fix it. If
or you did something to cause this problem. What was your like part in the play, kind of a thing? I guess that's a little bit of a better way to like explain it. It seems nicer, but I don't know. Don't show emotion. Yeah, that's a big one. Especially for like men. That's a really big one, is to not show emotion. Women get a little bit of like a grace, as far as like being able to physically show emotion. You just have to be prepared to be called like hysterical or crazy or, something along those lines. Holidays based on Christian religion, based on white history and male leaders, because we are a patriarchal society. Or culture. We're very male dominant and male oriented, kind of a thing. History based on Northern European immigrants' experience in the United States, heavily focused on the British Empire, primary like influences Western Greek, Roman, and Judeo-Christian traditions. Yes, to all those things. I agree with that. Yeah, that. Protestant work ethic. So this, I think, is really interesting, especially like with today's world. Protestant work ethic. Hard work is the key to success. Work before you play. If you don't meet your goals, you didn't work hard enough. See, it goes back to that like individual, you did something wrong, you're broken, you need to fix this attitude, kind of a thing. Also, hard work is key to success. I think we're finding out that that's not true. I hope it feels like we're finding out that that's not necessarily the case, especially like within the United States. But I don't know. It feels like we're getting there, but who knows? And then work before you play, obviously. Like that. This goes to again. We'll get there. Okay. The next one is emphasis on scientific method, objective, rational, linear thinking, cause and effect relationships, quantitative emphasis. So this one is interesting to me for a couple of reasons. One of those reasons being it's very boring. I don't know what to say on that other than like it's just very boring to me, like objective, rational, linear thinking. Like just I don't know, it just seems very like it's too business-like for me. It's just very like point A to point B. This is how you do it. This is the winning formula. So this is how it must be done. This is how it always should be done. Kind of a thing, which isn't necessarily like it's not bad. Like I don't necessarily think that like that's bad. Like if you have a winning formula, obviously like stick to it. Like you're doing fine. It just doesn't give a lot of room for like creativity, I don't feel. And I need it to be more like creative based, where you can sort of like flow in and out of like, well, what if I do this? What if I try this? What if I do it this way? What if like I want options. I don't like this idea of like it has to be done this way all the time, every time, blah 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 blah. Like this is the only way to do it. Like it's just too rigid for me. I just don't like that very much. I do like the scientific method though. I have no problem with the scientific method. I think it's a good method. I think again, you've got a winning formula. Don't change it. Like you're doing great. Status, power, and authority. Wealth equals worth. Heavy value on ownership of goods, space, property. Your job is who you are, and you must respect authority. See, this is one that I find, again, rather interesting because I don't like it. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not good with authority. Like, I'm pretty bad with authority. My job is who I am. I don't want my job to be like my whole personality. Like I don't want it to be who I am. I don't think that it necessarily has to be. Like for some people, if that works, where that like that's who you are, that's truly just like who like. But that see, and to me, it's contradictory because that's not who you are. That's what you do. So it's also phrased really improperly, which bothers me. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just true. Like, it just bothers me because I guess that's what it is. It's just like, I don't want my job to be like who I am, because I don't think that it makes me who I am. I think it is a piece. It is something that I do in order to survive on this planet. It's more of, that's what it is. It's a have to. It's not as ethereal, I guess, as, say, like the answer that I would prefer to give, which is like, I'm a bunch of different things. I'm not just one thing. Like, I just don't consider myself to be like just one thing, and I wouldn't want to be, again, like in that rigid, closed off like space. So that's kind of why but I also don't like that, we value like your wealth equals worth. So like how much money you have determines how not beneficial, but how I guess beneficial, yeah, like how much money you have is directly correlated with how beneficial you are considered to society. And your worth, like how, like we value you more if the more money that you have, which in turn I think means that we allow you to have more power. So the more money you have, the more power you tend to wield in a dominantly white cultural society. And I don't like that dynamic. I don't agree with that dynamic. I don't think that and I don't mean that in the sense that like I don't believe that it's true. Like, I do believe that is true. Like, that is something that happens. Like, it's true every single day. What I mean is, I don't like it. I just don't like it. Like, it's just not, I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I don't think that like that's how it should work. Because I just don't think it's that important. Like, I just don't value money like that. I don't value money like in that way. It's just not like it's irrelevant to me how much money you have. I don't really care. I personally don't think it's any of my business to know any of that information. And so I try really hard not to determine your worth based on what you say you like. Again, it goes back to like what you say you do for a living kind of a thing. Like, because that's who you are. Like, I try not to judge it kind of a thing. Because it's just, that's just not what I value personally. I just don't care how much money you have in the bank. Time, adherence to rigid schedules, time viewed as a commodity. Again, I don't like that we view time as a commodity, but we do. Adherence to rigid time schedules. Yeah. The thing is, though, is that like it helps me get stuff done. So like I get that one. It's one of those things where it's like, I understand what you're saying. Like, I should be more relaxed and like chill and like flowing and that kind of thing. But that's just like not the reality. Like, it helps me get stuff done, and like I want to get stuff done. Like, I like that feeling when I get something done, So that's sort of like my defense, I guess, for the rigid time schedule. Future orientation, plan for the future, delay gratification. Progress is always best. Tomorrow will be better. That's so depressing to me. That's just like a really, really depressing list of things. Delay gratification. Why? You don't know how long you're going to be here. Nobody does. That's the point. No one knows how long they're going to live. So why delay gratification? What are you talking about? I mean, I get it. Again, like too much, too much of a good thing is a bad thing, kind of a thing. I get it. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not trying to say that. Like, I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying, I don't know, like, I want to be happy like a lot of the time, man. Like, I want to be happy like most of the time. I don't want to delay that gratification in me, like within myself. Which is interesting because I kind of feel like I do that. I really do. I kind of feel like sometimes I will delay myself, like I will purposely do things to make myself miserable, to delay that gratification of happiness, that feeling of like being happy and being secure and being at peace, with that harmony kind of all in balance. I will delay that sometimes because I'm scared of how long it will A, stay around, and B, for me, it's one of those things where it's like, well, it's inevitable. It's going to leave. Like that feeling is going to go away because feelings aren't fact. Feelings are fluid, and it will eventually go away, and then you'll feel sad again. And I think that's why I do it. Like, I think, like, I've convinced myself that, like, that's the case. I'm getting better at it, actually, though. Like, I've noticed in my life, I've been getting better at allowing myself to feel that, like, that happiness and that, like, that peace for longer periods of time. Like, I'm getting more comfortable at it. So that's kind of exciting. Yeah. Progress is always best. I do like that aspect too, though. That progress is, the goal is progress. Like, just keep going. Just do a little bit. Like, it makes it easier for me, at least, like, to live life if I do life in like chunks like that with progress, not sort of like racing to the finish line kind of a thing. But yeah. So family structure. The nuclear family, mother, father, 2.3 children is the ideal social unit. Jesus Christ. We're such nerds. We are so nerdy. Oh my God. White people we're so nerdy. With our 2.3 children is ideal. Oh my gosh. Husband is breadwinner and head of households. Wife is homemaker and subordinate to husband. Children should have own rooms and be independent. I definitely had my own room as a child. And I will say there were benefits to it. There really were. I really enjoyed like being able to have my own room as a child. Such privilege in that. I did not even realize that until just now, the amount of privilege that came with that sentence. But yeah, it's just the truth. I had separate bedrooms growing up. So I don't really know. You guys can tell me how it worked out. I mean, I don't really know. I think it went okay. I think I'm at least, like a C. I got to be like at least like a C human kind of a thing. Yeah. Hopefully. I'm trying. And I'm trying to get better. So that progress thing again. Aesthetics based on European culture, women's beauty based on blonde, thin Barbie. Men's attractiveness based on economic status, power, intellect, and steak and potatoes, bland is best, which is so boring and so sad. So boring and so sad. Steak and potatoes, bland is best. Ugh. It's like in that movie, The Hitman's Bodyguard's Wife or whatever it is. He's like, boring is better, and I'm just like, oh, I get it, but at the same time, like, can we not change it up a little bit? Men's attractiveness based on economic status, power, and intellect. I'd say the intellect one for me is like the big one. I don't really care how much money you make. I don't really care. Yeah, it really doesn't, but whatever. Because that shit'll come and go. Like, you could be on top today, you'll be on bottom like tomorrow. Fear not, it's fine. That's why intellect is like more important to me. Women's beauty based on blonde, thin Barbie. Yeah, I'm out, you guys. I don't qualify. I have dark eyes. They're hazel. I have red hair, which I dye from like a really deep brown color. I'm also pale as fuck, you guys. So I might have the tall part. I don't know how tall Barbie's supposed to be, but I'm 6 feet tall. So we might have like that one thing based on European culture. Yeah. Where else are we going to get it? I mean, don't get me wrong. We definitely tried, but it didn't work out. And then religion. Christianity is the norm. Anything other than Judeo-Christian tradition is foreign, and there's no tolerance or from deviation from single God concept, which sucks, you guys. That blows. I don't like that. Why don't I like it? Because you don't know. You don't like for sure. Like you don't know like 100% for sure. I don't even think we could for sure like say I really don't even think we could say like 99% sure. I don't even think you could say that. Tell me what happens when you die. Like, cool. That's one of the reasons why I just don't know about it, That's why I'm like, I don't like that it's so rigid. Like our culture is so rigid and like structured and boxy, and it's it's just so boring to me sometimes. Like I just where's the stuff? Like where's the fun part? I don't know. It's like that scene in, I don't know if anybody's ever seen like the old Wrinkle Before Time, the movie. I mean, it's in the book too, but so you can either read the book or, watch the movie. But if you're going to watch the movie, like the older movie, because the scene that I'm talking about was really well done. Like it was scary well done, but it's basically, so our three protagonists in A Wrinkle in Time show up on this planet, and they're thrown into what looks like a suburb, like a suburban neighborhood, and like so all the houses are identical, and like every child that comes out, like every person that comes out, all looks the same. And so like the boy will come out and like he bounces the ball, I believe, and then the girl like skips rope, and then the mom comes out, like all the moms come out. Like it's really well done in the film. It's really terrifying. But that's just like what I imagine like white culture is. It's just so, it's like scary, you guys. It's like, what's happening? Why do we all have to be the same? I don't understand. Where's the like color, the fun part? Where's that? Which then made me very sad, because I started looking at all of these things, right? And I started kind of going through them like we just did, and going, oh, I like that, I don't like that, And it felt like there were a lot more things that I don't like or didn't like than things that I was like on board with, or things that I thought were like interesting or fun. It just felt like there were a lot of things that I was like, this kind of sucks. And that made me like super sad, because I was just like, well, this can't, because when you're sad, like, at least for me, when I'm sad, I tend to like isolate and sort of like collapse in on myself and sort of internalize everything and really kind of try to understand why and like what it is. At least that's sort of the process that I go through now. It wasn't always like that, but now. And I found that I was sad because, for a number of reasons, because the list of things that I didn't like were longer than the list of things that I did like. it made me sad because I was like, and we've been living like this for a really long time, like for forever. Trace it back to like, throughout time. Like we've been living like this forever, and I don't know why we continue to do it like this, because to be perfectly honest, throughout history, it hasn't really worked out for the majority of us. It really hasn't. We're, it's worked for a few people, and I don't know why we continue to kind of go down this path when it hasn't worked for the majority of us, and we're not happy, and we get into these cycles, and then we don't, like, what do we do? Like, we're a mess, you guys. We're a mess. I don't know what that says, but we're a mess. Like, and it really kind of bothers me how much of it, like, again, it makes me so sad because, like, the weight of it, just the sheer weight of, all the people that, live and are going to live and have lived under these like principles and these ideologies and these ways, I guess. And there's been so much suffering, and like on a massive scale, there's been so much suffering. Which kind of, to me, like it makes racism make sense to me a little bit. Like like not make sense to me in the sense that like I agree with it or anything. What I mean is it makes sense to me because I understand where you're coming from. Like I get it. Where it's like all the people, because it's like all the people that have suffered, and I'm not talking about anybody other than like white people, like all those people that have suffered under this regime for so long, or this way of thinking for so long, and we're told basically, drink your problems away. That's the solution. Don't show any emotion, but drink your problems away. But if you show emotion, you better have been drinking. And anger and lashing out is the best way to do it, because we can justify it in a way that's absolutely terrible, but we can justify it. And so when you're told that you are the lowest on the totem, when you are told that you are the lowest on the totem pole for so long, that then all of a sudden there are these other people that look different from you. Like, it's one of those, like, at least you're not the other, at least you're not them. And that's the justification. It's bad justification. It's shitty justification. It's terrible justification. It is justification, though. And so I wonder if that's where a lot of, like, the anger and the rage comes from, because we don't know where to put that. Nobody ever taught us where to put that anger and like how to direct it and like what's happening. Like we just don't know what to do with that, because this is the, like, so if this is the way that for thousands of fucking years we have solved our problems, and oh, by the way, we actually haven't solved anything. We've just continued to kick the can down the road. It just looks different every single time. So we fail to recognize it, and we're like, oh no, it'll be different this time. It'll be different this time. Will it though? Will it? I don't know. I don't know if it will. I don't really have a lot of faith that it'll look much different, because I mean, I don't know if we would know what to do with that or how to do anything with it. Which is why I'm saying, like, I feel like we need to be taught. Like, I need to be taught, like teach me, show me how to do this in a different way that works. And so, I mean, like, I understand why it exists. It's a tool to divide us, racism. And one of the best ways to do that is to do it culturally. At least that's one of the most long-standing, like, permanent ways to drive that wedge in there. 'Cause to me, it's just like it's pointless in my world, I guess, to be, like, racist or whatever. Because I just feel like we're similar in more ways than we are different. And I don't necessarily think that that's that's a bad thing, because even though a lot of the reasons that we're similar are not necessarily like positive things, we are similar. Like, we do have similarities. There are things about us that, like, we can say, hey, yes, I understand where you're coming from on this. Because it's happened to a lot of us too. And I just don't know. Like, I just don't know if that's ever really, like, being communicated, if, like, any of those things are ever really being communicated, or if we're always just, like, up in arms and, like, angry at each other about it. And because we've been taught, like, for centuries, this is, like, how it is and how it will always be, and nothing will ever change. And, you know, maybe the people in power will change, but your life really won't change that much. And, you know, it kind of is what it is. And you know, just work hard and you can eventually, like, you know, you can make it too. And it's like, yeah, but what they don't tell you is that, like, it's the chances of that actually happening, like, you have a better chance of winning the lottery. Especially in today's world. I don't know, guys. I'm super doom and gloom. I have to be honest. I didn't have my medication for like a week, and I just recently, like, got my prescription, was able to be refilled. So I'm a little bit loopy, and a little bit, you know, kind of a Debbie Downer. I know, I'm sorry. But it's true. It's just true. Like, it makes me really sad. It just makes me really sad that, like, we don't have a lot that I can point to that I can be like, I'm proud of that about being a white person. Like, there's not a lot, which sucks. Because what do we have? Like, what do we hold on to? You know, vegetables? That's what we have? That's what we got? Vegetables? Really? And dairy products? Fabulous. I mean, come on. Come on. We're so behind, you guys. Because I look at other cultures and I'm just like, oh, where are they? They're like light years ahead of us. I don't know. I I really do. I feel like we have more in common than we think we do. And there are things that I like about... That's the other thing, though, too, is that I don't know, like, I don't know if the answer is sort of like fanning out and like blending all the cultures into like one. I don't know if that's the answer. But I don't think that the answer is necessarily like keep it all segregated and like you don't come into our corner and we won't go into your corner. Like, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that's the answer either. Like, there's got to be like a middle ground. And that's the other thing too, though, is that I get scared when I'm like talking with people about this, about like white culture and like the similarities and the differences between cultures. It makes me very like nervous and because I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want somebody to walk away and go, well, you were appropriating my culture, or you were doing something that was very disrespectful to my culture, or like I don't want to do that. That's not my goal. That's not my aim. I don't want that to be like, I don't even want that to be like an issue. I just wish that there was a way to like, do we need to like admire from afar kind of a thing? Or like, how can we, because I just don't think that like, I wish it was more malleable, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like, I wish it was much more malleable in the sense that like, you could kind of float in and out and kind of just be like, well, I you know, I really resonate with like Black culture. Like, I really find it incredibly beautiful. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the people. I enjoy the, you know, all the aspects of it. And that's not to say that like there aren't aspects of my culture that I don't enjoy, like vegetables and dairy. I just wish there was a way for me to be able to like do it in a way that doesn't seem like I'm appropriating the culture or being disrespectful, and without like getting canceled. Like, I wish there was a way to do that without getting canceled and without being, you know, sort of mocked for it, I guess. Now, that's not to say that I don't want to be called out if I do something wrong. Like, I definitely want to know. Like, please let me know. I just wish there was, like, that's what I'm saying, like, should we just admire from afar? Like, is that the best way to just go about doing it? Is just like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I really like that. But then, like, not touch it kind of a thing. Maybe that's the best way to go about doing it. I don't know. We're going to talk to some people next week about it. It was a really good conversation. I really enjoyed talking with them. With Brett and Tay from the Tell 'em About It podcast. They came back, so that was really fun. And so we got a little bit of insight from them, on their perspective of the Black culture. I just kind of wanted to give my perspective of white culture. That makes me really sad, though. And it makes me, you know, I think that's the other thing is like, fuck all those people that like, you know, like made me hate being white. Like, fuck that. Like, fuck you rich assholes that created this system that only works for you, that is like dividing, you know, whose sole aim is like to divide and conquer so that you can, you know, keep all your power and your riches. And for doing it on a cultural level and then trying to gaslight us for being like, but that's not real, you know, like all this stuff. Like, fuck that. Fuck those people. Like, that's not, like, I don't, like, fuck you for making me not like being white and like for making this miserable and setting us so far back. Like, do you know what we could have done? You have no idea, like, the things that could be done if, you know, we could all figure out a way to set our differences aside and work together. Like, oh my gosh, I bet we would have so many space colonies already. So many space colonies if we just like all worked together and said like, fuck those assholes. Like everywhere, like all of them, just fuck those assholes. And we just like all work together. Like, oh, the things, you guys. I don't know. I feel like we'd already be like telepathically talking to each other if that was the case. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like going off the rails completely and my meds just haven't completely kicked in. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I guess that's kind of all I have to say about white culture. In conclusion, there's not really a lot to us, and I feel like we need to find more things. We need to find more things that we like about our culture. And it might be really hard. It might be something as simple as the fact that, like, we consume the most dairy or something like that. Something sort of stupid. But, you know, whatever. That's fine. It's something. Let's do that. Send me a list. Email me, man@pixieweirdo@protonmail.com. Email me. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me all the things. Also, we have a Patreon. I'm so sorry this week. I completely slacked. Like I said, I was not feeling myself. But I'm going to get back on it and it'll be better from now on. But we do have a Patreon, the Manic Pixie Weirdo podcast. You can check it out. If you don't want to donate in that way or you don't, want to support us in that way, that's totally fine. No big deal. No worries at all. We do have, we are on all the things, so you can write us a review on Spotify or Apple, which would be really helpful. Or you can follow us on Twitter, at MPWeirdo Podcast, or the Instagram and TikTok, the _main_weirdo1. Check us out. And as always, guys, be kind and stay weird. Love y'all. Bye.